3AP. This is Ms. Ortiz again, and I am back with you today to talk you through how to write a complex thesis statement. Okay, so a couple of things that I want you to remember about thesis statements before we get started is that number one, your thesis statement is by far the most important sentence in your expository essay. Okay, in your thesis statement, you are communicating very clearly to your reader what the main point of your essay is going to be. So you really should think about your thesis as a promise that you're making to your reader that you are going to stick to this topic throughout the entirety of your writing. Okay, so it's really important that you think through the sentence very carefully before you get started. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. What you are looking at right now is an example prompt. Okay, it's just a sample that we're going to work with today. Okay, so it says write an essay explaining the importance of reading. Okay, so how do we go about turning this prompt into a thesis? Okay, I'm actually going to give you some really simple steps. The first step that you're gonna take is to just take this statement as it is written. You notice there is a period at the end, right? It's just they're telling you what to do. You're going to take the statement and turn it into the question that it's really asking. Okay, so if you look at it closely, you'll notice that it's really just asking you, why is reading important? Why is reading important? Okay, so I'm actually going to move my face so you can see the rest of the steps. Okay, so got our question, why is reading important? Now it says answer the question in a complete sentence. Okay, so I'm really simply just going to start out by restating the question. Reading is important. And it also says down here in step 3 that we should add a subordinating conjunction to our sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and add because. So guys, subordinating conjunctions are what make your sentences complex sentences. Okay, so yes, I'm asking you to write a thesis statement as a complex sentence. Why? Because if you don't add a subordinating conjunction, if you don't make it a complex sentence, you're just going to end up with a really simple, basic statement, and it's really not going to give you any potential for depth or complexity in your essay. Okay, so you don't want to start simple. So you could definitely use because as your conjunction. That will work a lot of the time, but not always, right? So sometimes it's going to be beneficial to try out some other subordinating conjunctions like although, after, before, right? These are all just examples, and there's actually more. So if you would like to Google a list of subordinating conjunctions, you'll really see all of your options. Okay, so I have reading is important because now I need to finish out my sentence. So I'm just going to think about what I know about my experiences reading. And I'm going to go with the idea that reading is important because it makes us, it develops us into critical thinkers. Reading is important because it develops us into critical thinkers. Okay, so I kind of like the way that sounds, but I want to spend some time making sure that I really do like all of the word choices that I have used. And actually, let's see, I kind of am stuck on this word right here. It develops us into critical thinkers. Well, who is us exactly? That kind of sounds a little vague to me. So maybe instead of us, maybe I change it to people. Reading is important because it develops people into critical thinkers. But gosh, honestly, that still seems kind of vague. How can I specify it a little bit more so that I'm really addressing a target audience with my essay? So I probably have a lot of experience with students, so I'm actually going to target this towards students. Reading is important because it develops students into critical thinkers. That is a much more targeted thesis. That is really going to help me develop more targeted supports to support my claim. Okay, so I like the way that sounds. Let's make sure I followed the rules of theme. Yep, I answered the question in a complete sentence. I have a subordinating conjunction. My thesis is polished, starts with a capital letter, ends with punctuation. And I also really like my word choices that I have used. So what I'm going to do now is I'm ready to start my essay. I'm ready to start thinking about my supports. What you're going to do now is actually practice writing a thesis statement just like this. You're going to go through this process, but your prompt is going to be based off of the choice reading that you did on Monday. So either you chose option 1, this article here, 2 or 3, you will see your prompt down here. So again, guys, whichever one you chose, you're going to go through the same process, turn it into a question, answer the question, make sure you have a subordinating conjunction and that you have revised. Okay, you are going to leave your thesis statement. You're going to drop it in the discussion board for your class today so that your teacher can get you some feedback. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Happy thesis statement writing.